Yes, thank you very much, Joe. I'm really pleased to be able to talk about the work of the International Progressive MS Alliance. The International Progressive MS Alliance focuses on previously neglected and untreated progressive MS. It's managed by the Executive Committee, which is composed of the founding member organisation CEOs from Australia, Canada, Italy, the MS International Federation, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The focus is on accelerating life-changing treatments for people with progressive MS. Despite the challenges created by the global pandemic, the Alliance remains financially sound and membership is expanding. So we've gone from 15 members last year to 19 members this year. And of particular interest and importance, I think, is the involvement and collaboration of the pharmaceutical and biotech industries. And that includes the sharing of commercially sensitive information, which is a unique advantage of the Alliance. Next slide. People living with MS are deeply involved in the Alliance's work. We're actively involved in governance through the Scientific Steering Committee, the Strategic Plan Update, and the Scientific Implementation Team. And we're also involved in the evaluation of research proposals and applications. Next slide. This is just a photo of the team of which I'm a member, showing you the various members from around the world. The mission of the Alliance, that slide speaks for itself. It's about accelerating the development of effective treatments for people affected by progressive MS, but also importantly to improve the quality of life of people with progressive MS worldwide. Some of you may remember that I spoke about the 3 collaborative networks, research networks last year, and this is really an update. The 3 collaborative networks were formed in 2016. 2 of the networks focus on drug development related to controlling the immune system and providing nervous system repair and protection. The 3rd is working to develop an MRI biomarker for use in clinical trials. The 3 networks are a first-of-a-kind global research network with 40 investigators representing 21 institutions from 9 countries. Through these collaborative networks, the Alliance is pushing the frontiers of research to understand what causes progression, to test new therapies, to stop, repair, and prevent nerve and brain damage, and to speed up clinical trials, as well as improving the everyday lives of people through symptom management and rehabilitation. The first of the collaborative research networks is led by Professor Martino from Italy. It involves a collaborative network of 13 different investigators from Europe, Canada, and the US. The collective knowledge of this group does not exist anywhere else in academia or industry. The team is working to identify molecules that may have a protective role in nerve cells or neurons and or the capacity to promote myelin repair, the Holy Grail. The program has now identified 22 compounds with either neuroprotective myelin repair properties or in some cases both. The short-term goal is to refine the 22 leads to a short list of 10 compounds for animal testing. Additional screening and novel testing approaches will be directed to narrowing the field down to 2 or 3 compounds for human testing. The labs in Italy reopened in September. They were closed down during the height of COVID, although I don't know that we can say we're past the height of COVID. Productivity was reduced due to the need to limit the number of people in the lab, but it's expected to increase to about 75% by the end of the year. Obviously, the project timeline may be delayed. Even so, the network recently published a paper in ACTA Neuropathology that shares new findings that can help focus future efforts in treatment development. Next slide. The next network is led by Professor, I think I've missed, Doug Arnold from Canada. The Quintana network. Is focusing on the innate immune system and working to identify drug candidates that may be effective therapies in progressive MS. While the innate immune system normally functions to protect the body from infections, Dr. Quintana and others have found that innate immune cells in the nervous system promote disease activity in MS. This network has 3 goals: to establish a pipeline for the development of drugs that modulate the central nervous system, innate immunity in progressive MS, to identify candidate drugs for progressive MS, and to characterize the molecular mechanisms that control the central nervous system innate immune response in progressive MS. The approach is to undertake an unbiased screening of existing FDA-approved drugs that modify CNS, central nervous system innate immunity. Following the drug identification, Quintana is pursuing the effects of the drugs in immune cells and effects of the drugs on preclinical MS models. So once again, it's been affected by COVID. Quintana's lab was completely shut down from March to July. They're now operating in shifts due to occupancy limits, and they're working on re-establishing some of the experiments that had to be closed down due to the pandemic. Even so, the team has submitted or published at least 12 papers in 2020, including 2 new papers, which will shortly be released in the journal Nature. The team has identified a cell pathway where an intervention could potentially block the destructive properties of rogue innate immune cells, and they're testing potential agents for this purpose. Additionally, the network is examining a specific compound that could protect the brain from damage. Next slide. The next network is led by Professor Doug Arnold from Canada. And this network, in many ways, I think is the most exciting. It's working to develop imaging tools and computer programs that will predict changes in the brain as MS progresses and provide understanding of how progression affects the brain. The team has received data from approximately 13,500 subjects, and they now have a bank of more than 72,000 MRI scans. A recent request was made for the use of the data from a new trial, and that'll add an additional 650 patients with progressive MS. This research is investigating the proposition that disease progression in MS is detectable by MRI prior to identification by physicians with the naked eye, or in a clinic visit. So the relevance is that this is, I think many of us have had the experience of being told that our MRI looks fantastic and that there's been no change and we're doing really well. And yet we know that our disability has progressed. So this trial is using cutting-edge advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning, these tools are being used to evaluate whether a potential treatment is effective, whether the treatment is slowing or reversing damage in the brain. So this is addressing a current major barrier in current treatment development. Potentially, clinicians will know much faster whether a potential treatment is working and need far fewer patients involved in a trial. Together, this would reduce both the time and cost in developing new treatments. The overall goal is to accelerate phase 2 clinical trials for progressive MS by bringing together MRI and clinical data from phase 3 clinical trials, identifying new MRI markers that are associated with progression, and developing an MRI biomarker to assess treatment effects over short periods of time. And the good news about this project is that it has been less affected by the pandemic, because a lot of the project is mainly focused on gathering data. It's mainly being done using virtual techniques. Investigators are still able to work on this project, and the group has made significant progress integrating artificial intelligence into a data platform, along with uploading data sets into this platform. So in summary, this team is developing state-of-the-art tools and techniques to harness the potential of large data sets combined with the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning. 2 papers and 2 abstracts were published between July and September this year. And the team is continuing to work remotely. Turning now to the fluid biomarker work, which is in addition to the 3 collaborative networks that I mentioned. Have you got the fluid biomarker slide? Until now, there's been no quick way to detect whether a therapy is working, because the evidence of progression can be subtle. We need biomarkers that can predict disease activity and detect responses to a therapy. The Alliance convened a panel of experts to evaluate the potential of neurofilament light as a fluid biomarker in MS, and progressive MS in particular. The panel has published a paper in the scientific journal Neurology that summarizes what's known about NFL as a potential biomarker. Further research is needed to refine its potential to predict the disease course and to detect the response to therapy in progressive MS. And I believe Jo Lane has embarked on some research in this regard. Next steps include meetings with regulators in Europe and the United States to support this effort. As well as all the work that I've mentioned, there are some new awards coming up, which will be announced, I expect, in early 2021. The grants are in the pipeline, and I believe I'm right in saying that MSRA supported 19 applications for these awards from Australia. It'd be great to see more of the Alliance work being done in Australia. Next slide on wellbeing research. The Alliance, I think this is really important too. The Alliance has recognised that in the absence of a cure or a treatment that will stop and reverse MS, people with MS urgently need evidence-based research which will help them better manage their symptoms and improve their well-being. So as you can see from this slide, the Alliance has issued a call for action for research into managing and treating pain, cognition, mobility and fatigue. The next slide is just to alert you to a global webcast on the work of the Alliance, which is being hosted by the MS International Federation next week on Thursday, the 12th of November. Now, it's being held at 4:30 p.m. London time, which makes it totally impractical for us. But if you register, you will of course be able to watch the webcast subsequently. It's going to feature Professor Doug Arnold, who is doing the MRI biomarker research, and Dr. Robert Fox explaining his research into the NFL as a fluid biomarker. So I think it will be a very exciting webcast, and Trishna Baradia will serve as a facilitator, and she's a person living with MS and a patient engagement advisor living in the United Kingdom. So turning to the next slide. In summary, I think the Alliance is transforming progressive MS research. The world has truly come together in one plan. The managing members of the Alliance, the organisations in Australia, Canada, Italy, the UK and the US, along with the MS International Federation, are committed to funding this vital effort. Through my role with the Alliance, I was selected for a role to also link in with the MS International Federation, which also has a People with MS Advisory Committee. And my role is to strengthen the ties between the Progressive MS Alliance and the MS International Federation, I should say. So I want to just briefly tell you a little bit about the work of the Federation, which is complementary to that of the Alliance. And I think I'm perhaps going over my time, so I'll skip quickly through the slides, which really speak for themselves. The role of what is the MS International Federation, global network of 48 member countries. And you can see the vision, a world without MS, and the mission of the Federation. The next slide just explains what the MSIF does. It brings together the work of MS organisations around the world, and particularly strengthens organisations in countries where there is little support for people with MS. And it has an information and research dissemination role. In terms of people with MS, the MS International Federation has a 7-member people affected by MS committee, advisory committee, and the MSIF values specify people affected by MS at the heart of everything that we do. We know international collaboration changes lives. We test, learn, and adapt to continuously improve our impact. Great set of values, I think. And I'd just like to draw your attention to a recent MSIF initiative, which is the Atlas of MS. It's just been updated, and it's really interesting. So I'd really urge you to go to the MSIF website and have a look at the Atlas, which will tell you how MS is affecting every country in the world. And the MSIF are also going to be embarking on a major drive to connect with more people living with MS around the world in 2021. So there's really an opportunity for people with MS to get more deeply involved in research and information sharing around the world. And I'm just going to give you in the next slide the website, msif.org, and the MSIF also has 2 publications which you can subscribe to, called MS Connections and MS Research News. I hope the information I've provided today gives you hope that there is an unprecedented interest in MS research, and that progressive MS is now receiving the attention that we have so much needed. Increasingly also, there are opportunities for people with MS to contribute their perspective and their lived experience of MS to research initiatives around the world. Thank you.